Your Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Isatou Touray, Honorable Speaker, Madam Mariam Jack Denton, Honorable Ministers, members of the Diplomatic Corps, venerable religious leaders, Mrs. Fatou Bensouda, ICC Chief Prosecutor, and my sister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first welcome you all to this TAFCON 2020, which is the 5th event of its kind, but which also commemorates 30 years of TAF Africa Global. Prior to starting my speech, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate my brother, Mustapha Njie, for his stellar achievement of more than 30 years. It's actually 45 years of a dedicated career in which it has been excellence, in which you have provided leadership, and in which you continue to provide quality services, not only in the housing sector, but in the hospitality, and a lot more these days in doing work basically that is pro bono and in helping the younger generation. This family is very proud of you, and I'm sure your friends and everyone in this room is very proud. This is 30 years of TAF, and this is TAFCON 05. It provides an opportunity, as usual, to discuss contemporary issues which impact the Gambia's development. The theme could not have been more apt. To talk about the Gambia and its performance in a world of borders without boundaries is very relevant. As it is in society, we have now seen the changes that are taking place globally and the impacts which they have at the national level. To say the least, in the Africa region, we now have the advent of the free trade, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We also we're looking at issues, for instance, like the tourism sector in the Gambia and the impact of Thomas Cook and what that has meant. And there are quite a few other areas where we see global impact on national issues and vice versa. And TAF Africa Global, in its TAFCON this year, thought that it's really relevant to look at some of these issues and to look at how they impact and what we can learn. And as was said, what are recommendations that can be made to government on how to act on some of these issues, given the length and breadth of ideas that will come from these discussions in taking some of these issues forward. Another important issue that will be part of these discussions, and I am sure the high table speaks to that issue, is basically the role of women and how we empower women to take on national development. With more than 51% of the population being women, it is clear, and it is clear globally too, that women's empowerment remains a key to sustain development, and the more actions we take in this regard positively, the better it is for all our countries. And we will be looking at this issue in depth during this meeting and hopefully also take some strides forward in coming up with ideas. One of the things that we're also looking up to is to celebrating our own. We have a number of Gambian inventors and innovators that will be here that work nationally and internationally and have done some amazing things. And we're looking forward to hearing from them, to sharing their stories, and to also seeing maybe how they can inspire more the younger generation that is to come so that they can get into some of these areas and we can get the youth engaged. That's about what we'll be looking at, and some more surprises over the next 2 days. But in the meantime, it is my pleasure to call on Mustapha to basically give his statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, kindly indulge me to once again wish everyone present here a Happy New Year and a warm welcome to TAFCON 5, which coincides with our 30th anniversary as a company. It is with great delight that I look back at the past 30 years and see the successes that we have recorded as a company, particularly the thousands of families that we have sheltered in Africa, the lives we have impacted, and the businesses we have influenced across the African continent. It might interest you to note that I have worked as an apprentice, employee, through different segments of housing sector for 15 years before I started the company now known as TAF Africa Global Limited. TAF Africa Global, which was a startup business in 1990, known as TAF Construction Company Limited, has grown into a conglomerate with over 400 permanent staff. I was determined to succeed against all odds. And at some point, the company diversified into building material supplies and then hospitality, whilst carrying on business as TAF Holding Company. However, through my travels, I saw beautiful estates built to improve living conditions, which reflected the standard of living I wished to see in the Gambia. As such, I thought to replicate same in the Gambia. In the year 2000, we ventured into mass housing development, starting with Yarambamba with 210 low-income housing units, and then Burford Gardens with 550 units. In 2004, we took the first giant step to venture out of the Gambia as we went into Senegal and Mali. Then in 2011, we signed our first major PPP in Nigeria with the Rivers State government. This partnership gave birth to the project called Riftaf Golf Estate, which is our flagship project to date and the biggest estate in the southern part of Nigeria. From a startup business in 1990 in the Gambia, passion and determination to succeed has driven TAF Africa Global into becoming a reputable real estate brand in Africa as we expanded into Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Mozambique, although with special focus on the Gambia and Nigeria. As expected, a 30-year journey could not have been without its challenges. We have consequently converted our challenges to opportunities and learned from each challenge. Firstly, access to finance. As a startup 30 years ago, I started small by using my savings. We built credibility over the years, which made us able to access finance from the local and foreign partners. Secondly, human resources. We did not allow the limited supply of vocational skills in the Gambia to limit our success. We initially imported skills from Senegal and later moved these trained artisans to Nigeria and back to the Gambia. We have built capacity of staff and exchange personnel across the African continent. Thirdly, relationships. We constituted the right boards, certified our clients, who in turn referred other clients, as well as built and maintained cordial relationships with governments and institutions across Africa. The future is still bright. A few years ago, we redefined our vision to build 1 million homes over the next 20 years, which includes a minimum of 1,000 homes each year in the Gambia. We have been able to deliver on this goal, and this year, we've launched 4 estates with a combined total of about 5,000 homes. We have also been working on succession planning and strengthening our corporate governance so the company continues to grow well beyond my time, and that transition has been well underway for a few years now. Our partners have bought into our vision. An example which is being demonstrated by signing a memorandum of understanding with Shelter Afrique for the financing of some of our housing projects. Already we succeeded in initiating and convincing local banks over a 10-year mortgage facility for the first time in the Gambia, which has made housing more accessible in the Gambia. Our pursuit for success as a company cannot be complete without being responsible to our host communities. We empowered members of our host communities and developed their skills and capacities. We did this successfully in Nigeria and here in the Gambia. 2 years ago, we officially launched TAF Africa Foundation in order to have more structured and impactful results. We dedicated 1% of our total revenue to advance meaningful development and growth of the community that we serve. The foundation has developed a series of initiatives targeting different members of society, particularly the youth, which constitute 66% of Gambian populace, and differently able who are mostly ignored by society at large. Among the 7 initiatives under our foundation include TAFCON, TAF Startups, TAF Icon, and the TAF Leadership Academy, called TAFLA. About $2 million Gambian dollars was awarded last year to TAF Startups winners, and these companies are doing amazingly well till date. TAF Leadership Academy was birthed after I attended the University of the Gambia Students' Week, and in the last 12 months, successfully experienced Gambians have lectured on 12 attributes of good leadership to the 50 cohorts who would graduate tomorrow, whilst 600 youths have signed up for the next round of leadership trainings. We intend to produce 1,000 TAFLA fellows in the next 10 years. We have also raised seed capital and supported the differently able people. We have partnered with GTTI and offered internship for hands-on training aimed at solving the deficiency in TVET skills and creating employment for the youth. As we celebrate our 30th anniversary, let me take this opportunity to thank His Excellency, the President, through the Vice President, the Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Ministers, my foreign guests. Over these years, I have built a network of solid friends, some that I've known for almost 30 years. Today, they are here celebrating with us. So I would like to say a very big thank you for having left your busy schedule to join us in our celebrations. I also want to thank my directors, my staff, my clients, partners, and everyone who had played one role or the other in making TAF Africa Global what it is today. Finally, I wish to thank my dear wife for standing by me over all these years. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I learned this from Almamital. Almamital goes into a meeting and he concentrates on only trying to focus on the wife. So in Wolof, I always tell him that diga diga sumaraka danga jonge. So that's where I got the lessons from. Anyway, that on a softer note. Now, I would like to call on the Managing Director of Shelter Afrique, Mr. Andrew Chifonda. He's flown all the way from Nairobi for us to sign this landmark deal. We were supposed to sign this actually about 9 months ago in Nairobi, and the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Regional Affairs, who holds the portfolio of housing, was supposed to accompany me. And then he tried that we signed it at the African Union Housing Finance Conference in Cape Town. But I just thought that, look, charity begins at home. How can we start this without bringing it into the Gambia? So today we will sign the MOU. So I would like to invite the Honorable Managing Director of Shelter Afrique for the signing of our MOU.
Assalamu alaikum. I will stand on existing protocols today, and I was not prepared for a speech, but nevertheless, I will make a speech. Looking around, CEO, MD, Mustapha Njie, TAFCON. What can you say? Masha Allah. Shelter Afrique, I will just talk about who we are, why we're here, and the benefits of what you've witnessed today in very brief terms. Shelter Afrique is a housing bank for Africa. We are owned by 44 countries, of which the Gambia is also a shareholder in Shelter Afrique. We also have another 2 shareholders to add to the 44, making it 46, being the African Development Bank and Africa Reinsurance Corporation. Our vision is clear: decent and affordable housing for all in Africa. Why? If we don't plan the provision of housing, low cost, high quality housing, you are going to have a proliferation of slums, because it is only Africa that has the highest urbanization rate in the world, not just in the continent. So we have a clear mission, that is to be the preeminent provider of financial solutions, advisory solutions, and research solutions to try to resolve the housing crisis through public-private partnerships in order to develop sustainable development impact. So why are we here? It is for that purpose. We are here because we want to deliver, at least contribute to reducing the housing crisis, which stands in Africa at 56 million units housing crisis, which requires at least $2 trillion to resolve. When we come to the Gambia, we're looking at a shortage of in excess of 60,000 units in a population of just 2 million. So we have dedicated ourselves in a strategy that is centered on public-private partnerships. That is why we met the Honorable Minister of Lands and Regional Development. Of course, we'll meet the Minister of Finance as well. Public-private partnerships that are geared towards delivering large-scale, low-cost, high-quality housing. Why? Because the biggest problem in Africa is affordability. We will also not only deal with the supply side of housing, but also deal with the demand side of housing by providing banks. We will visit GT Bank, providing banks with lines of credit to be able to extend the loan terms from 10 years to 20 to provide competitive price funding. But that is enough of the marketing just to pay for my air ticket to come to Gambia. In closing, I want to say that our partnership with TAF Global goes beyond just what we've signed today. It is a relationship with our brother, Mr. Mustapha Njie, the CEO of TAF Africa Global. It's about credibility. We've had 3 relationships through 3 loans, and I'm pleased to say the TAF Africa Global was able to honor its commitments. That is why we are here today, to say we want to be part of that vision of 1 million units over 20 years. We believe it's possible. We want to be part of that vision in terms of providing a minimum of 1,000 units in Gambia. And I think as a result, it's because we share the same mandates. TAF Africa Global is 30 years in existence. Shelter Afrique is 36 years in existence. So I would like to say that for us, we are pleased for what we see here today. We are pleased to see your commitment by being here today to be able to contribute to the reduction of that housing crisis. And I want to thank you personally on behalf of the board of Shelter Afrique, the shareholders, and of course the management team of Shelter Afrique, CEO Mustapha Njie, for inviting us, for making us a part of this wonderful, auspicious occasion. And I would like to commit to you that we will not just be talking the talk, we will provide US dollars. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now I think we will continue. We would like to continue with the other initiatives that we have. And I will start with the announcement of the 2020 TAFCON. As you've seen, last year the TAFCON was Mrs. Janet Bajanyong. And this year we're going to announce the 2020 TAFCON. So as I announce the 2020 TAFCON, I'll just tell you what happens. We read the citation, and then he is celebrated in March. So we consult with him or her, and then so, it's well planned. He will invite all his family, friends, and at certain point, even some international relationship. Now, it's so difficult to read the citation because what I would have loved to see is that this is made known at the very end. But it's tough. So I would not start with the name, but it says, look, citation for second TAFCON recipient. He was born in Banjul on 23rd June 1952 and has traveled the globe promoting arts with particular focus on African music. He is convinced that there is a big potential in African arts field and is resolutely committed and promoting the arts and working artists. Oko Drame is now a producer residing in Europe and in Kenya and has been a major force in presenting a great variety of African singers, composers, instrumentalist through the renowned African Music Festival, which he is the founder and chairman. As one of the leading promoters of African music festival in the world, his festival in Amsterdam, launched in 1983, has grown into a major event that brings together more than 10,000 people annually. It is worthy to note that the African Music Festival is one of the oldest and largest international African events in Europe. The African Music Festival has helped to explore African stars to the international scene. Oko produced stars like Miriam Makeba, South Africa, Youssou N'Dour, Senegal, Mori Kandeh, Guinea, and Salif Keita in Mali to the international community. Most of the major names in African music, including Lucky Dube, have performed on the festival stages. The African Music Festival became one of Netherlands' biggest tourist attractions, gaining the support of Dutch Ministry of Culture and the city of Delft. Consequently, Dramé was handed numerous awards by governments and city of Delft in Holland. Dramé has also produced music events in France, Germany, England, Scandinavia, Belgium, China, USA, and the Caribbean. He organized the first African music festival in the United States at the John Anson Ford Theater in Hollywood in September 1997. He is the creative force behind the Sotokoto Band in Hollywood, USA. Oko was given a certificate of honor by the California Senate for organizing the African Music Festival in the United States. His works and contributions to the continuous development of arts had been recognized by University of Texas, which awarded him an honorary doctorate degree of arts. Oko has been one of the most consistent forces in the promotion of African music and culture. Oko brought the Nights of the Griots on a US tour that exposed the culture, music, and instruments of the Mandinka people to the American audiences in the first step of a cultural exchange between Banjul, the Gambia, and Austin, Texas. In his ongoing journey to promote African music, Oko has contributed greatly to the African performing arts sector, especially in his place of birth, the Gambia. In 2000, he was elected as the public relations officer of the Gambia Music Union and gained re-election in 2010. When the Union of Gambian Musicam was established in 2008, Oko was elected as the public relations officer. He played a critical part in the founding of Gambia Copyright Office, where he served as its secretary until 2012. The same year, Oko was elected as the Secretary General of the just founded Royalty Collecting Society of the Gambia. As at the end of 2017, he was serving on the board of directors of the Public Relations Officer of the Network of the Gambia. The Gambia Ministry of Youth and Sports, in recognition and appreciation of his exceptional contribution and outstanding commitment and involvement in youth development, decided to appoint Oko as the Gambia's plenipotentiary goodwill ambassador. Oko, congratulations. Sorry, that's for the icon, so we move on. I think we are really working against time. Next step is to move on to the startups. You know, the startup is one of the highlights of this event. So now, as we move on, the staff startups actually had about close to 100 entries this year. And some elimination was done, and we've ended up with 10 finalists. Now, out of the 10 finalists today, we're going to give out 7 consolation prizes. So the minimum that these ladies and gentlemen will work out with is $50,000 as a consolation prize. And then the star prize is $1 million, whilst the first runner-up walks away with $500,000, and then the second runner-up, $250,000. Now, can we have the results? Let me also, while she's walking towards me, I would really like to thank Mariam, my daughter, my niece. She's done extremely well, working together with the judges to come to these results. Thank you, Mariam. Now, so the consolation prizes. So can we have the consolation prizes? Now, the first consolation prize goes to Smiling Coast Tourism by the name of Ramatulai Jallo. Okay, they will give it to you. Can I have the judges to deliver these prizes, please? So they will deliver the prize. So Ramatulai walks away with $50,000 as a consolation prize. Then the second consolation prize goes to Fatou Mane of Jelma Habela. The third consolation prize goes to Fatoumata Gassama, represented by her sister, called Girls Pride. This is what the fourth. And the fourth goes to Jaites Fishing. That's to Musa Jaite. It's up there. To Musa Jaite. And he does his business where? In Farafenya? Yes. Yeah. Then the other prize goes to Ndey Awasise, Nature's Gift Care. She was also, she was here last year. Another consolation prize goes to Youth Farmers Enterprise. Mohamed Jabi. Mandu P. Fofana of Mira Farms Limited. Now, the top three are left. And we will start from the second runner-up. The second runner-up goes away with $250,000. And I will ask my dear sister, Ndey Isatou, to do me the honor of handing over this prize. So this is $250,000 that goes to Young Generation Smart Clean. So now this is the difficult part. There are two left. Who do we announce first? The winner or the first runner-up? The first runner-up. And automatically we'll know the winner. There we go. Can you come up, the two of you? So the first runner-up is Usman Rahman, Dex Doorstep Express. And can I ask Madam Fatou Bensouda to give her the prize? Now, obviously, the star prize goes to Jabi Green Hectares. And can I ask Madam Vice President, please? Oh, mind you. Okay. Yeah. And he walks away with $1 million. Now, we will ask Madam Ndey Isatou to introduce our guest speaker. But probably before you do so, I don't know whether Sangada for way jamam? Huh? Actually, Fatou Bom is our cousin. And in other words, Suma Jamla. So she's my aunt's daughter. So, as you know, in Gambia, Mama Topanjam. But Dunja Mbenga of Senegal has a song that says, Sangawena Jamam. The other way around. I'll reserve that for the big day on Thursday. Thank you very much.
It's now my pleasure to introduce to you the guest speaker, Dr. Fatou Bensouda, who is the Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, having been elected in 2011 by consensus by the Assembly of State Parties. Prosecutor Bensouda was nominated and supported as the sole African candidate for the election to post by the African Union. She is the first woman to hold this position. Under her leadership as prosecutor, she has greatly reinforced the capacity of her office through a number of strategic and managerial initiatives and expanded her office's activities to cover 11 active investigations and 10 preliminary examinations of conflict around the world. Through her work, she has strived to advance accountability for atrocity crimes, highlighting in particular the importance of addressing traditionally underreported crimes, such as sexual and gender-based crimes, mass atrocities against and affecting children, as well as the deliberate destruction of cultural heritage within the Rome Statute framework. Previously, she served as the court's first deputy prosecutor from 2004 to May 2012, senior legal advisor and head of the legal advisory unit of the UN International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, 2002 to 2004, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Gambia, inter alia. She's the recipient of numerous awards and recognitions. Dr. Bensouda has been listed by Time magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in the world. And by the New African magazine as one of the most influential Africans, by Foreign Policy as one of the leading global thinkers, and by Jeune Afrique as one of the 50 African women who, by their actions and initiatives in their respective advance of the country of the African continent. Prosecutor Bensouda is firmly committed to gender equality, cultivating a gender perspective, gender awareness, and breaking gender barriers in the workplace. In 2018, she joined the eminent roster of international gender champions. Madam la Prosecutor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, my dear sister. And the issue of the Topanjam will be taken up in due course. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, members of the Diplomatic Corps, CEO Mr. Mustapha Njie, and my dear sister Ndey Isatou, venerable religious leaders, their colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, dear compatriots, it gives me a distinct pleasure to address you at this impressive gathering of Gambians and all those invested in the success and future of this country. From government representatives to civil society and private sector representatives. And last, but certainly not least, youth, the youth, who are the Gambia's greatest assets and the foundational blocks on which this country's future depends and is secured. I am, as always, particularly honored to be back in my beloved and hospitable homeland of the Gambia. There is truly no place like home, and I feel that sentiment deeply as I stand before you today to share some reflections as a Gambian and in my personal capacity. I hope my humble observations will be of value to this forum and to the rich discussions that awaits us. At the outset, I wish to thank Mr. Mustapha Njie, fondly called TAF, for his leadership and vision for the youths of this country, whom he places as important actors for the development of our country. I also want to thank his formidable team for assisting in organizing this conference and for inviting me to take part. I am grateful for the opportunity. Allow me to observe at the outset that these are exciting times in the Gambia, where a new beginning has given hope to the promise of nation rebuilding on the crucial pillars of good governance, equal opportunity, development, and respect for the rule of law. An era where innovative and an entrepreneurial spirit can thrive, where ideas and innovation can take root and be cultivated, where the potential of all Gambians can be fostered without distinction, and where different sectors of society constructively interact and are galvanized in the service of a common cause. That is, to build, hand in hand, a stronger, secure, and prosperous Gambia. Gambia's National Development Plan is very much devised with these necessary goals in mind. The TAF conference, in its own way, attempts to lend its support to the currents of this new era, serving as a channel for that necessary thrust forward. The organizers are to be commended for creating this platform for the exchange of ideas and the forging of synergies and partnerships to serve this movement to advance the country's growth and greater success in this new century. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, promising signs are present and on the horizon. The Gambian economy is reported has been growing. An economic growth of 13.4% is projected for 2020, which, if reached, can facilitate greater ability of the country to advance sustainable development goals. Gambia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission is up and running and is doing crucially important work, not least to heal wounds and to create a historical record of the wrongs of the past in the hope of not repeating them, while paying particular homage to the victims. The rejoining of international treaties, including the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, which I have the privilege to serve, as well as other organizations, is yet another expression of positive change taking place, demonstrating Gambia's commitment to its international obligations and the values it wishes to represent and preserve in the world. By maintaining its membership with the ICC, the Gambia has sent a strong and clear message that it stands with victims of atrocity crimes at home and abroad, that it stands with the rule of law at home and abroad, and that it stands with justice against impunity, and that it has chosen a path of accountability and transparency that all Gambians can be proud of. Security reforms is prioritized and underway, while many more projects and developments worthy of note are conceived for action or already being implemented. On this road to recovery and reform, the potentials and opportunities are immense, but so are the challenges of prioritizing areas in need of attention while resources are finite. Commentators observe that Gambia's institutions need to be further strengthened, including the legal sector and the judicial system. The diversification of the manufacturing sector should also be pursued while protecting the potency of the agricultural sector. The country's infrastructure, health and education systems can also benefit from the injection of greater focus, priority, energy, and funds. A free and robust, independent professional press, it seems to me, should also be promoted as a crucial pillar of good governance and a democratic Gambia. Gambians have a lot to say and to contribute. Let us ensure their voices are amplified and heard within the country and abroad. Thinking and related efforts towards these issues and more have been devised and exerted. And these are encouraging, and more will surely be on the horizon with the national energy and commitment that I have observed. The immense human potential of Gambians living inside and outside the country can combine to make important contributions to such efforts. Human capital and potential also means institutionally and systematically lifting barriers by providing equal opportunity for all members of society to thrive, reach their full potential, and to succeed. Women represent some 50% of Gambia's population. They are an immense asset whose potential has not yet been fully embraced. As I often say, and I firmly believe, equality for women is progress for all. Increasing the representation of women at the workforce and at the negotiating table, an important force in humanity's pursuit of progress, productivity, justice, and equality is a key aspect of women's empowerment, and in my view, will greatly enhance the prospect of achieving these objectives. We have a collective responsibility to continuously raise gender awareness and advance gender parity in the Gambia and throughout the world. Gender barriers must be broken. If my own personal story and achievements are of any consequence or an inspiration to girls and young women, it is because my parents believed in gender equality, because my father believed that all his children, boys and girls alike, deserve to receive an education on a level playing field to pursue their interests and their dreams. He believed in us as his children, as human beings whom he wanted to see develop, excel, and thrive in an increasingly competitive and uncertain world. I am forever grateful for that wisdom. A strong and successful Gambia is one that empowers its women and affords them equal opportunity. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, these are indeed exciting times for the Gambia, with opportunities for reform following a mapping of priorities that means weighed against the different state objectives to advance the national interest. History has shown that establishing the rule of law and a healthy, well-functioning judicial system are fundamental prerequisites to political stability and economic growth in any country. To the extent that greater constitutionality and accountability through the law can deter cronyism, conflict, war-making, and the commission of destabilizing crimes, certainly then, criminal justice at the national or international level can play an important role in Africa's economic growth and prosperity. And that is also true for this blessed homeland. Indeed, greater investment in law and the rule of law promises great dividends for the future of the country. In a decade from now, I'd like to see the Gambia emerge with fully developed infrastructure, continuous economic growth, and ample opportunity for its young population so that they can constructively contribute and secure their country's and their continent's future. A country that continues to attract investment and injection of input from abroad, and increasingly engages its vast and influential diaspora to direct it towards bigger and better successes, supplementing the great talent and energy that already exists in the country. It is estimated that by 2050, Africa will have the greatest potential among all continents in respect of its young and dynamic labor force. Cultivating this enormous potential must be a strategic imperative for African countries, including the Gambia. The responsibility, indeed, imperative to educate and train this vibrant population should be obvious. Such an investment will, in time, beget a powerful force for the emergence of a larger middle class, higher standards of living, and enduring social harmony and stability. With the indulgence of this audience, I would like now to directly address the youth in the room with just a few words. Dear friends, brothers and sisters, I would even say nieces and nephews, I know the future of the Gambia is bright because you are its future. The Gambia will be secure, built on your ideas, creativity, and contributions. Through a solid education or honing of skills in whatever discipline or trade that interests you, you have and will build a solid foundation on which to build further, to make a change, to live a life of achievement, accomplishment, and success. I wish this and more for all of you and for the country. I have full faith in the new generation. Young talents like all of you to carry the torch of enlightenment, tolerance, progress, and innovation as you dedicate yourself to your passions and to your dreams. Your generation is the age of hope and opportunity. It is the age where dignity, equality, diversity, and the respect for life and liberty, amongst other fundamental guarantees, have sacred value amongst the people of the world. These values have become fixed in an ever-emerging global awakening. This is your cultural ethos, and it is up to each and every one of you to live by its standards and protect it, notwithstanding challenges. The future belongs to you, and I am confident you will make it count and build it strong on the trinity of wisdom, tolerance, and respect for the dignity of self and the unfamiliar other. Let me conclude with a lesson informed by my own personal experience. Glass ceilings are there, only to be shattered. Never doubt yourself or have regret. There is only one way to look, and that is forward. Drown out the noise. Continue to work hard and aim for the sky. It is yours to claim it. As you do, with humility and integrity as your guide, we will be watching you and watching you with pride and admiration. Gambia is yours to shape. Make it count. Excellencies, dear compatriots, at the dawn of another decade, I wish the Gambia great success, peace, and prosperity. And all of you, agents of that coveted condition, my admiration and fruitful deliberations. I thank you all.
I now have the singular honor to invite the Vice President, Dr. Isatou Touray, to deliver the opening statement.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Mustapha Njie and his team on this 5th TAFCON and the attainment of a major milestone for TAF Africa Global, which is celebrating 30 years successful operations, first in the Gambia and then in the sub-region. This is no mean feat, and the signing of the MOU between Shelter Afrique and TAF Africa Global, which we must or just witnessed to build 1 million homes in Africa, is testimony to the vision, hard work, and delivery of quality services by TAF. The country needs economic independence through employment and opportunities for wealth creation towards poverty eradication. Economic independence of our citizens would make our socio-political independence meaningful. Since our political independence 55 years ago, generations have been working hard to improve their economic situation. Thus, great names in the business sector of the Gambia like Mustapha, Njie, TAF. The principles of private sector-led growth and our belief in the private sector as engine of economic growth will continue to be a fundamental national development pillar. My government will continue to carve out and adjust to responsive policies and strategies to support greater private sector participation in the domestic economy. To this end, a second National Business Council, a National Business Council has been set up to provide a platform for the private sector and government to engage on business issues and recommend policy options. With the private sector, it is expected to play a significant role in financing of National Development Plan 2018 to 2021. We have drafted a revision to the Public-Private Partnership, that's the PPP law, with the support of expertise from France and other international financial institutions. Indeed, private sector credit expanded by 28.8% this year, higher than 20% in 2018. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, government has kick-started reforms to improve the business environment in the country, to promote investment and industrial activities, and to establish a fair trading environment for private sector development. It is against this backdrop that GAIPA has entered into a joint venture agreement with TAF Africa Global for the development and management of an industrial park at the Banjul International Airport. The joint venture is an investment in excess of $300 million with the potential to spur more economic activity. The facility will be developed to house manufacturing entities, educational institutions, hotels, and office spaces. I would like to take this opportunity to applaud GAIPA and TAF Africa Homes Global Limited for rising to my call to build GAITAF Special Economic Zone, a new business city to demonstrate the transformation which is now taking place in the country under my government. The different components of the GAITAF Special Economic Zone will entail the creation of a well-built modern state-of-the-art special economic zone. Its design embodies economic development using modern technology to boost industrial development, promote tourism and leisure in a real estate hub. The project aims at achieving a balanced economic space that promotes trade and investment through industrial activities. Such a modern special economic zone focuses on export promotion, creates jobs, and integrates within its surroundings. Situating economic activities closer to the community would provide direct employment avenues for Gambians. This is in line with the strategies in our National Development Plan 2020 to 2021. This initiative we are witnessing today represents a great source of pride for the Gambia, and it is as a result of the enabling policy and business environment that is designed to boost our national development. At this juncture, I would like to applaud TAF for the support he is providing to the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. The TAF startup competition and the sizable prizes being awarded will go a long way to providing much-needed support to the young entrepreneurs. It presents a priceless opportunity for apprenticeship for the young segment of the population and for reinforcing our national technical vocational education training base. My administration will continue to encourage Gambians with technical skills and knowledge to engage in our drive towards industrialization. My government recognizes the challenges faced by these enterprises, especially in relation to funding. To mitigate these funding challenges, the first ever Gambia Angels Investor Network has been created by the Youth Empowerment Project, YEP, in close collaboration with GAIPA. The parties will work to facilitate domestic and international investment in Gambian businesses. The eventual objective is to trigger growth and development and bridge income gaps. The youth subsector enjoys increased attention from my government for very obvious reasons. Besides comprising about 65% of the Gambian population, the youth are a productive segment of society and represent a critical stakeholder group in the national development process. Aptly, therefore, the National Youth Service Scheme continues to provide relevant and marketable skills to young people throughout the country. Along these lines, the President's International Award Scheme is striving to provide opportunities for young Gambians to explore their talents and sharpen their skills to create employment for themselves and participate more effectively in national development. Government is supporting the operations of the National Youth Council and its decentralized structures. During the last fiscal year, the Council was supported to launch the Youth Connect Gambia and its Maiden Summit. The summit revolved around flagship programs on youth leadership, innovation, volunteerism, and job creation. In addition to other useful activities, the Council also facilitated the establishment of the Children's National Assembly and conducted a job fair for rural youths. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I note that TAFCON 2020 will discuss gender and women's empowerment, and I look forward to the recommendations that will emanate from the debate. The creation of the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare indicates my government's commitment to addressing the social, economic, and general well-being of children, women, and the socially marginalized members of our society. The new ministry signals our awareness of the importance of these members of society. I must observe, however, that issues of women, children, the less privileged, and minority groups in the country cannot be addressed in isolation, as they affect the whole of society. As such, efforts will be intensified to ensure that their rights are protected and their participation increased in all aspects of development, including appointment to leadership positions. Our goal is to empower both women and men to live quality lives in an inclusive society free from all forms of violence, neglect, and abuse. To achieve this, I urge all sectors to work together to address all issues of equity, equality, and social justice. In this regard, government has launched a number of initiatives aimed at empowering women, especially those involved in small businesses. In partnering with the International Trade Center, my government launched the ICT She Trades Project Gambian chapter in February 2019. This is a global initiative to empower women economically through trade and investment. The project seeks to connect 3 million women to markets by 2021. Through this project, 250 youths have been trained and deployed for service. 12% of them are backway returnees, and 4% are physically challenged persons. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would once more like to assure you that my administration will continue to pursue explicit policies that guide our national development and create an enabling business environment that attracts investors and strengthens private sector development. The private sector development strategy of the Gambia 2015, the entrepreneurship policy and strategy, the industrial policy backed by supportive legislation within a healthy legal environment and solid institutional arrangement are practical measures that demonstrate my government's commitment to a private sector-led growth. I look forward very much to your recommendations, and on this note, it is my pleasure to declare the meeting open. I thank you all and wish you good luck. Happy New Year.